everybody, we're back in the fish room again today doing some more maintenance tasks, which gives me an opportunity to answer some questions about water changes and various other things in previous videos and get some stuff done. So first and foremost is I need to change my HMA filter cartridges. If you don't know what an HMA filter is, strap in. If you're new to HMAs and haven't heard of them before, essentially it's a filter for your water before it goes into your tank. So they come in various guises and sizes, but you'll usually find them where they have some kind of sediment filter and then some kind of carbon filter. They might have a carbon granule, carbon block. The idea is it takes anything out of your tap water before you put it into your aquarium. So rather than having to use dechlorinators or water conditioner or things like that, you can just run straight from a tap into an aquarium. So I've made several videos about HMAs in the past, so if you want to know more about them, do a bit of a deep dive, I'll link them in the description down below. But basically, they make your tap water clean and suitable for your aquarium. There are some drawbacks or some things you need to remember in that you can only run them at certain flow rates to make sure that they're taking all the nasties out of the water. Refer to your filter manufacturer or cartridge manufacturer to find out what they are. So you can buy them in bigger sizes that will do bigger flow rates, smaller sizes for smaller flow rates. And it also depends what's in your water, so you need to know what you're trying to remove before you buy the right cartridge. But in general, if you just have chlorine in your tap water and you don't have chloramin, any old cheap HMA filter pack will do the job for you. If you have something else specific that you want to get out of your water, then you can run other filters in parallel or in series rather, or different types of cartridges which have different specs to remove different things. But today I'm just doing regular maintenance. I run a fish room here with thousands upon thousands of litres of water. I need to do large water changes. I get through it quite a lot, so that is my HMA filter there. And as you can see, it's a little bit manky. I tend to replace the cartridges every 4 months. It's probably been 6 months, so I'm a little bit lax this time. But that keeps my water running fine, and hopefully, as you can see, all my fish are very happy. So there are various fittings you can use to connect your waters, whether you want to use a hose fitting or come straight from a tap or something like that. Really depends on your situation. Some people just stick this under the cupboard and in a cupboard and bring it out when they want to do a water change. Some people have them mounted permanently, connected to a tap. I connect mine to hot and cold water through a thermostatic valve. So the water that runs through there is at the same temperature as the water in most of my tanks, or not very far off it anyway. So as I don't need to precondition my water or bring it up to temperature or anything like that. I won't be shocking any fish by doing that. And that's a thermostatic valve. A fancy way of saying it's a shower valve. You can buy just the valve itself, or an old shower valve is what I'm using. Set the temperature, set the flow rate, whatever you want to do, and then it's just good to go. I have some little T's to control when I want to turn it off to do maintenance, like now. I mean, a genius like me, I have put this next to all my computer equipment, so you know, lots of electrical supplies, expensive monitors, computers, servers, just where you want to have lots of splashy, watery things. But we will turn off the tap, and then it's just a case of they basically unscrew. There will be a little bit of leakage. I could take it down and do it somewhere else, but yeah, risk it for a biscuit. Take them off, swap over the cartridges, put them back on, let it run to waste for a few litres just to clear out any residue, debris, that kind of thing. And then we're good to go. It's back in for another 4 months of active service. So I have made it quite awkward because space is tight, but essentially all I need to do is turn off the tap from the feed. So this is the line that brings the water into it. I've got another one that hits off there to go upstairs to my other tanks. That stops the water going in there, so no more water can come out. And I can just take this off by unscrewing it. There is like a special key you can get to make that a bit easier, but you can do it by hand as well. A few dribbles, like you see, but nothing too bad. And this is where my wastewater goes anyway. And without too much drama, it's out. So this is where you can see the biggest difference. And one of my firm beliefs is that it's better not to put crap into your aquarium and then use chemicals to take it out. Just don't put the crap in the first place. Yes, that has gone a couple of extra months of use, but as you can see, This is taking everything out of my tap water, any impurities. This is just the 5 micron sediment filter. Looks like that when it goes in, looks like this after a few months. So it is taking a lot of stuff out of there. Whether you view this as a financial decision, that it's cheaper than continually buying water conditioner, there's arguments both ways. I do it purely from the point of view that it's better for your fish tanks not to put things in than it is to put things in and take them out again. So that's why I prefer the HMA filter. That and some carbon filters. This particular setup I've got has a carbon block and a carbon granule filter. Same kind of thing, they're in the same sort of configuration. Change them all over, run it for a bit, and we're done. That is your heavy metal axe. So the technology behind this sort of stuff isn't necessarily new or specific to the aquarium hobby. This is stuff that was used in commercial water treatment facilities way back into the last century. It's just been adapted over the years. This, you can argue all you want about the specifics of what make up each of the cartridges. The internet is a fun place to argue all these things, whether activated carbon versus carbon block versus granules versus very fine filter strands and things do X, Y and Z, but the technologies themselves are fairly standard, and it kind of all started back in the 80s and 90s in the UK anyway, where koi keepers, they wanted to find a way to stop adding chemicals. Again, my number one reason for using this sort of thing is not to add anything into the water. They found that using carbon and adapting commercial things into a kind of residential appliance, they could run it through a filter and put it into the water. And then over the years, as the water companies started adding more and more things into the water, they developed more and more things in multi-stage filters. And that's why we end up with what is now called the heavy metal axe, or the HMA, or carbon block filtration. If you've watched this far and I haven't put you off with my inane ramblings, I have created more of them in this book. This is available now on my website if you live in the UK, if you want a signed copy, or on Amazon, wherever you live in the world, you can get a copy of this, which is a collection of more of my inane ramblings where you don't have to see my face. Go buy it now! I know that comes as a surprise to many people that not only can I read, I can write as well. Well, maybe. So that's it all changed out. I've flushed it for 5-10 minutes using this. This is my manual water change appliance. I talked in the last video about making water changes as easy as possible, so if you're not feeling well or you just can't be bothered, it's not a chore for you, and I very much believe in that. So we talked about auto water changes on my big tanks like this one mega tank too. This is my 12-foot tank. I've got an 8-foot tank behind you that does the same sort of thing, but for manual water changes I use this. So I'm now going to contradict my previous video and say, as much as water changes being automatic is a great thing and it does help you when you're really feeling low or not bothered, manual water changes is something I've grown to love over the years, because you can actually spend some time getting involved with your fish tank. You physically have to be there, you have to have a look and see what's going on, and you get to see the little ecosystem you've created. Is everything okay? You're forced to spend a few minutes just checking everything out, and I think that is, you're missing out on a big part of the hobby if you don't do that kind of thing. Now, I am a lazy man, and I am a forgetful man. That's why I use this float valve, so I can turn this on, and if I do get distracted by some flashing lights and walk away over somebody else, it's not going to overflow and flood the place. So basically it'll fill up until it gets to the top and then it'll stop. But I like to take out some water, check everything's going on. It's an opportunity for me to spend some time with hands in the tank, checking things out, and then I'm happy. I can move on and do the next thing, let it refill. So we've been talking maintenance. That's obviously about the HMA, but I'll use this time as a regular time to do all the other bigger jobs. So canister filters, I've got FX2, 4, 6s, they all get a good clean at the same time, because it makes it easier for me to manage all these things. That, okay, this is the one time I do this sort of thing. More regularly, I'll do things like clean out sponge filters and clean out internal filters and that sort of thing, just give everything a bit of a rinse. But the bigger jobs that require a bit more effort, just get them done once every 4, 5, 6 months, and then that's it out of the way. Easy to do, easy to remember, not easy to screw up. Next on the agenda is CO2, because I do have a number of planted tanks. This currently doesn't use any CO2 at all, but some of my other tanks do, and my system just isn't up to it. So if you're interested in learning more about that, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because that'll probably, one of the next videos will be on my CO2 system and some tweaks and adjustments on how I'm setting up a multi-tank CO2 system on a budget, just for a change, because I like doing everything as cheap as possible. So click subscribe if you want to learn more about that. As always, come and check me out on a Friday night. We do a live stream most Fridays, 9 p.m. UK time. There's games, quizzes, chat, all that good stuff. Come and say hello if you haven't already. And if not, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much for joining me. Leave a comment below if you're interested in seeing any other kind of maintenance-y things about goes on in the fish room, and we'll see if we can work it into the schedule. Thank you very much. Bye. And it just so happens that it works well for all kinds of lots of electricity. Hey everybody, we're back in the fish room again today with more maintenance tasks. Maintenance tasks. You can argue as much as you want about which one. That's it, all flushed out, all changed, and we're good to go. I talked to her about the. So we talked about auto water change videos. Usually there's no hardware, but if there was any hardware things, like if there was a